Today, the government announced several new policies to tackle illegal immigration. None of them will work. Yvette Cooper's one-in, one-out deal with the French has been signed off by the EU and it will come into force this week. It is a pilot scheme. It will see less than one boatload of illegals deported every week, and in return, we will get another 50. Plus, whoever else makes it across the channel, arguably, will receive more migrants. So that's rubbish. A few hours ago, Sir Keir Starmer put out this glossy video. He's announced £100 million of your money is going to be spent on new officers for the National Crime Agency and technology to help them monitor people coming across the channel. Now, people think that the National Crime Agency is full of big, burly police officers or James Bond-style figures. It isn't. Here's what the NCA is, according to its own website. Some of our officers come from a law enforcement or intelligence background. Many do not. From the civil service to the private sector or straight from school. NCA officers come from all walks of life. Our diversity is one of our greatest strengths. Brilliant. That's great. Great stuff. The third announcement is that promoting channel crossings on TikTok is going to be illegal, so they want to stop this.
طقس ربي يبارك ها شو رايك وجمعة وراحات شوف ما شاء الله شوف الاجواء الله اكبر الاجواء جدا جميله والاجواء جدا رائعه يومكم طيب هلا والله هلا يلا يا سيدي اجواءك وفعالياتك شمر لي درعانك ويا سيدي مرحبا.
Well, I understood two words there. They say you'll get 5 years in prison if you promote channel crossings. Well, firstly, how are they going to do that when most of the accounts promoting it are based outside the UK? Secondly, when I went to that big warehouse full of Sudanese, Eritrean and Ethiopian lads in Calais and they started filming me... Show at GBNews, I know that you're filming me. Is it possible to have a quick conversation with you at all about how you plan on coming to Britain? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Hey, guys. All got the phones out there, haven't they? All got the phones out. And then some of them put that on their TikTok pages. Hello, how are you? My name's Patrick. I do a show at GBNews. I know that you're filming me. Is it possible to have a quick conversation with you at all about how you plan on coming to Britain? Yeah, along with a video diary of their entire trip across Europe. Does that count as them promoting illegal entry into Britain? A video diary of your trip across Europe? So, are all those lads going to be nicked? I doubt it. Talking of loads of lads, this has to be the most ridiculous policy of all. Yvette Cooper has said that she'll make it illegal to put more than 80 people on a boat. They're already breaking into Britain, Miss Cooper. It's already illegal. 79 strapping lads from South Sudan is fine, is it? It's the 80th that tipped you over the edge. Mental. And all this culminates in an interview this morning with Dame Angela Regal, who is the Minister of State for Border Security and Asylum. She went on Good Morning Britain. Any guesses as to who interviewed her? All right, that's the Home Secretary's husband, Ed Balls, isn't it? Yeah, that's right. He interviewed a minister about his wife's own policies. And Ofcom is just absolutely fine with that, isn't it? Absolutely fine. I'm not surprised she won't come on GB News, by the way, because here's how it went whilst her boss's husband was there to serve a few underarm deliveries at her.
But there's no quick, easy fix to
Well,
this.
give us the evidence first before you get into the fact it's got to be slow, because that, I think, people would like to hear.
Well, we inherited a terrible situation with huge backlogs in the system, which we're getting down. We are...
pathetic. I mean, there's no evidence of it working, but it gets worse.
The previous government had had a 70% fall in asylum decision-making, so there was just hundreds, thousands of people backed up in the system not having decisions at all.
What's the percentage now?
We've got it down to 78,000 for first initial decisions. We've had a 116% increase in asylum decision-making, which is getting the system moving again. There's now a backlog developing in the appeals system.
Bingo! There we go. So they've processed more cases, which means that more people have been approved, and all the ones who haven't can still appeal. We had one woman who appealed 8 times and then pretended to join a proscribed Nigerian terrorist group so that we couldn't send her back there, and then she was allowed to stay. Look, it's really simple. The only answer is mass deportations. So compare Angela Eagle's guff with this.
Where should they be deported to if their country isn't safe or if another country won't accept them?
I'm sorry, I've had enough of this. If you come from Afghanistan, you go back to Afghanistan. End of. This idea we can't send people to certain countries, all the false claims that people make about their own personal lives. I'm sorry, we're done. We're done. We've had enough.
Flight to Kabul, anyone? Right.
Hello, I'm Bev Turner. Now, it can feel like the money in our bank accounts at the moment does not keep up with the cost of living, and maybe there's a solution. I'm here today with the CEO of TallyMoney, Cameron Parry. Cameron, what is TallyMoney?
Well, Bev, with TallyMoney, you get a current account and a debit card, but instead of pounds, you use milligrams of gold as your everyday money.
So why gold?
Gold traditionally is a great store of value. It has, on average, gone up at over 11% per annum for the last 25 years against the pound. It's tripled in value in the last decade. And in the last 2 years alone, it's increased by 50% against the pound. Banks' savings products just can't compete with that level of growth.
But this isn't just about gold. This is about a currency that you guys have created at TallyMoney. Explain it to me as though I'm an idiot.
So, look, people need to be able to hold their earnings and build their savings in a money that retains its value and remains in their legal control and remains theirs to access, away from government control.
Great. You had me at not exposed to government control.
You should feel safe and happy with your money. You should have peace of mind the more money you see in your bank balance, and that's the type of thing we're trying to deliver, and give people choice in the type of money they get to use every day.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Cameron. Thank you.
Let's get the thoughts of my panel. Daily Express columnist Carol Malone. We've got journalist and broadcaster Benjamin Butterworth, former political advisor to the Tories James Price. Right, OK, so Carol, I'll start with you. So several what I'm calling chocolate teapot policies. Not really sure any of them are going to work.
I mean, what Angela Eagle just said there, I'm tempted to call her an eagle like the actress, but anyway, no, it's an eagle. What she said there was she was talking about this clearing the backlog. Well, the reason they've cleared the backlog is that as of in the year ending March this year, 99% of Sudanese migrants have been granted asylum, 98% of Syrian have been granted asylum, and 86% of Eritreans. So all they're doing is granting everyone who comes here asylum. So there's the one thing. The one in, one out scheme is never going to work. 100 million quid to get rid of 50 a week and to take another 50. But they're talking about this 100 million like they're giving it. That's our money. That's the British taxpayers' money. And Starmer put out a tweet today. I mean, the man, he thinks we're all idiots. I mean, it really annoys me. He says, I will use every tool at my disposal to control our borders. No, you're not doing that, sweetheart. You're just not controlling our borders. And they keep on doing these ridiculous, silly little policies that these are just tinkering around the edges of the problem and hoping that the British public are going to swallow it, while currently the British public are on the streets demonstrating. Well, they're not swallowing it.
Well, quite. James, so I've just had an advanced sight of tomorrow's Daily Telegraph, and on the sidebar there, they talk about how small boat migrants are set to be deported within the week. This is because the EU has essentially ratified the deal with the French for this one-in, one-out thing. I am of the view, unless I've misunderstood this, I am of the view that this will actually mean more migrants.
I think it's, exactly right. Even if on the face of that, one in, one out, well, the net reduction there would be zero, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Even on that alone. I think it's this fact that they'll take about 5%, which, again, is not going to be enough of this. And as Carol said, all these little announcements, this is just trying to rearrange the deck chairs on the Titanic until and unless we have a fundamental resorting of how the law works in this country. People have been talking about the ECHR, that's a big part of it, and how that has been woven into domestic domestic laws for nearly 30 years now, starting in a big way with Tony Blair and the Human Rights Act, which sounds nice, but I think some people will remember that before 1998, we did have some human rights still in this country.
Yes.
Right? But and then it's this fact that it's human rights that are now being used against the British people. So these people have a right to this, that and the other that most people in the country don't have. And far from them fleeing war-torn countries, what did we see there? Them having a lovely jolly as a road trip on their way up from the Mediterranean, on their way through Paris, seeing the Eiffel Tower, coming up to Calais, because they know when they get here, they're going to get shed loads of benefits from us.
I can't wait for that to make it to Britain, by the way, because he is. I bumped into him in that warehouse. He filmed me. He has his TikTok is just his trip. He's gone off to Gran Canaria. He's been all the way through. He's better travel. He's seen more European countries than I have, this lad. He's going to end up to Britain, and we're going to be the ones who have to take him. Why? I'm going to do a sit-down interview with our mate. He's from Libya, by the way. I'm going to end up doing a sit-down interview with this lad, I think, at some point. But OK, so some of those policies that we mentioned there, I think that 50 people going back a week. But we're going to return 50 people to France. Then the French are going to send us 50 in return, and we're going to have to keep everyone else who arrived on a small boat anyway.
Well, the process they're going to do is that if people have a relative who's already in the UK, they are under eligible for refugee status, then they can come in, and France will take back people who are ineligible. Now, in the first hour, you were talking about the anger at people being in so-called migrant hotels. Well, this is a way to massively reduce that, because people will be dealt with out of having to be in a hotel for 12 to 18 months, which is the average.
Does it not mean that anyone in the world who's got a relative in Britain can just now come across the channel?
Well, no, because, of course, it'll be only the people that have already taken that journey to get to Calais to France.
Right.
And so this is a step forward. But this is a step forward because that's going to massively reduce the cost to the British taxpayer.
No, it isn't.
That is not true. That is a lie.
We've got to take on points that you say. It's not, because lawyers have already said that the 50 that are picked to go will appeal that. So they won't be going. So no one will be going. French will be sending 50 more. We're going to be fighting court cases for the 50 who have been picked to go and won't. So that's not going to work.
OK, I just want to go, because there's another policy in this that we've not already spoken about yet. So this thing, if you promote your journey on TikTok, you can face 5 years in prison.
Yeah.
Well, how are they going to enforce that? Everyone TikToks about it. We'll lock them all up for 5 years.
Right, there is no way to enforce this. Absolutely right. What worries me about this is the fact that not just the fun tourist videos we're seeing on TikTok, but there are reports now, very seriously, that these guys, the smugglers, are using footage of young English girls on a night out, not wearing very much, getting boozed up, all the rest of it, saying, look, come over to England and here's the kind of fun that you can have. And this is this point, they're coming over here because they want a better life. No, it's because they've been told not just the benefits we've just talked about, not just the free iPhone or Samsung, and they get a choice of which, but look, it is an easy, defenceless country where you can come and cause mayhem, and that's what they're coming over here for in far, far too many cases.
But don't forget,
it's the young men coming over, right? If you're fleeing war, why are you leaving your wives and children behind?
I know. It's ridiculous.
But don't you think it's time the Starmer and this mantra, smash the gangs? It's nonsense. It's operationally impossible. What we should be focusing on is not the gangs, but the migrants themselves. They've come here without an invitation. They've come here to stay to collect our benefits. Stop the benefits. What happened to the rules that the Tories had about if you came here illegally, you are eligible to be deported?
Labour scrapped it.
I know they did, but that's what I'm saying. Why?
I just want to get one more in. I'll put this to you, Benjamin, if that's all right, because the other thing that was announced there, big fanfare, this Keir Starmer glossy video, Dame Angela Eagle struggling to get her words out while Yvette Cooper's husband, talks to her about it on Good Morning Britain in a way that is obviously entirely Ofcom compliant. So fantastic, well done, Mr. Balls. Anyway, 100 million quid for the National Crime Agency. I'm sorry, the National Crime Agency's own website has diversity as our greatest strength on the home page. It's poxy, isn't it?
I think that's a really unfair criticism, because the point they were clearly making...
What's on that website?
But hang on, the diversity they were referring to in the previous sentences was that they take school leavers, they take people in the private sector. Yeah. It's not just traditional police officers, which I would say is a good example of getting different skills into that workforce.
Well, it's not working, is it?
I think you're being rather unfair.
Right.
Well, look, you need the resource, because clearly there isn't enough resource to tackle the problem. The point I was just going to make is that...
let's give them more money, should we?
Well, yes, to fix it.
I was going to say,
I did recently take a flight to Kabul. I was there for Kabul Pride, all on rooftops only. But
I don't know if you're joking.
No, I was in Kabul 2 weeks ago.
Oh, OK, right.
And the Kabul Pride was a joke, naturally.
Yeah, right, that's the one, yeah.
It was really interesting, actually, that the cultural difference was obvious. The young men there were extremely sexually frustrated because it's against the law to not be married. And so, you know, you can see the problem with the cultural difference there when they come here, because it was from the conversation.
But is that okay
And
then?
the point of that is that they will never... The point of that is that they will never be able to integrate into British culture. They will never be able to do that. And we're not going to be able to do that. We're just, let's go and re-educate them. Not interested in that.
And the other thing they're going to do as well, which is really going to smash the gangs, they're going to penalise universities for not letting foreign students finish their courses.
Yes.
I mean, that's a really...
Well, that is a racket. Right, OK, we're going to have to whiz ourselves on. Here's one.